Hello, everybody. How are you guys doing? How are you guys feeling? I am here to talk about the villain. Yes. Okay, first of all, I always do like different villains of different shows and such. And I just love a good villain. So I always break down a villain of a show or, a show that I like, who I thought the villain was. Because I feel like the villain is what makes the show. A good villain, child. Y'all already know. Changes things around. I love me a good villain. So I want to talk about P Valley and this is my personal like opinions, my feelings, whatever, right? In season one of P Valley, I feel as though Lil Murda, portrayed as, I believe his name is Jay Alphonse Nicholson, for me, represents himself as the up and coming rapper. He was like the tough exterior. For me, he's the villain, okay, of the entire series. Well, not entire, of the love story between him and Uncle Clifford, okay? Because I feel like he's the villain, okay? He is the villain. And we're going to get into why I believe he's the villain in their relationship. I'm not going to say as the entire show, because there's other individuals in their stories, and I don't think he's the villain in their stories. But specifically between him and Uncle Clifford, he's the villain, okay? He's the problem. I just feel as though, in my humble opinion, okay, he like presents himself as this, up and coming rapper, which he was, but it was straight slaw, they said, with the tough exterior. However, beneath the facade lies a character who manipulates, okay? He really does. He manipulates those around him, just in my opinion, for personal gain, okay? Uncle Clifford was the non-binary, owner. He was a male, right? I believed he was gay, but he is non-binary. The owner of the Pynk. He provides Lil Murda with a platform to showcase his music. Just I'll explain, or I'll say, call Uncle Clifford a she, because she identifies that way. So she owns, this club. She offers, Lil Murda, him, just guidance, support, a stage to perform. Despite this, in my opinion, Lil Murda keeps their relationship hidden, fearing the just opinions and precautions and just all of what the world has to say, of him being open about his sexuality. In season one specifically, I want to focus on that, because season two, Big T comes in, and I don't want to get to that just yet. But in this, episode 5, he reveals his real name is Lamarcus, to Uncle Clifford, attempting to like take their relationship to the next level. However, Uncle Clifford, aware of like the dangers of being out in their community, advises caution, highlighting the just how Uncle Clifford cares, and just even the crime in the area, right? So I believe that because he's like, well, he offered a lot of people, that's their argument, he offered Uncle Clifford the relationship, and, she didn't take it. In my humble opinion, she did that to protect herself, because she knew that man was not ready, okay? You don't want to come out as being a gay man. You're not ready for that yet. You're not ready for that energy. So you were out here trying to say you was ready for things that you know damn well you weren't ready for, okay? And I don't even know, in my opinion, why Uncle Clifford even gave Lil Murda a chance. Like, he was just kind of like a scrub, wasn't nobody taking him serious in anything. He was trying to, shoot his little shot at Mercedes, and she just looked at him like, stop it, stop it, little water gun. Didn't even pay him any attention. She wasn't feeling him, he was just kind of a lame. His music was whack. She was like calling the music straight slaw. Nobody gave him any attention. He wasn't important until he started flirting around with Uncle Clifford. And that goes to my point that he used Uncle Clifford, okay? Like, even with using Mississippi, yeah, right? Because he used Mississippi as a beard. Mississippi is another dancer at the Pynk, right? Just he becomes just connected to her and uses her as a pawn. Lil Murda does, as a quest to, I'll say, maintain maybe his image. He engages in like a public relationship with her, kinda. just claiming it was public, performing together and, presenting themselves as a couple. Their arrangement kind of served the reasoning, I guess, served the process, served in both of their honor because it was able to conceal the true identity of Lil Murder and satisfy society's expectations. Mississippi, dealing with her own abusive relationship, becomes entangled in the facade unknowingly. Well, I wouldn't. At first, it was unknowingly because she didn't know that they were connected, Uncle Clifford and Lil Murder. But when she did know, she was fine with it. But she was kind of hiding what she had going on. Just perpetuating his hidden lifestyle. Just trying to have his back, not because of him, but because she loved her some Uncle Clifford. Even in the season 2, even though I said I wasn't going to too much talk about that, like Uncle Clifford did not necessarily want to deal with Lil Murder, but Lil Murder was messing with Big Teak, and it was the eye motion and are these people messing around? What's going on? That little like Mississippi was doing to Lil Murder's manager, I would say, or I don't know if he's the manager or the DJ, all of that. Like they messing around, so she kind of knew it at a certain extent about his sexuality and agreed to be the beard, but she was a pawn. I was feel she was being used, whether it was intentional or not, whether it was, oh yeah, that was his plan. No, it could not have been his plan, but you did use as she offered her services as it was beneficial. Low Murder's behavior reflects a broader issue within the LGBTQ community. Hopefully, I'm getting it right, guys. If I am not, please help me. Particularly among Black queer individuals, many engage in relationships with so-called trade, right? That's what they call them, trade men, who outwardly present as heterosexual but engage in same-sex relationships in secret. This dynamic often leads to emotional manipulation, as the closeted, you know, individual uses the other for companionship while avoiding, public acknowledgement. The fear of exposure and the potential of violence, if the relationship is, revealed, kind of create a bit of an unsure environment for those involved. So I think that it kind of becomes that kind of situation. And it is scary. It definitely is scary. But I don't know. I think that this show was very much so layered. I think one of the most huge aspect of Uncle Clifford character is her desire for love that is open and unashamed. She yearns for a partner who will claim her publicly, who will love her out loud without fear of hesitation. And this longing highlights the emotional toll of being in a hidden relationship and importance of vulnerability, acceptance in queer relationships. I wish she had somebody that like that, but she wasn't like outward saying it. She would put on this facade as though that's not something she wanted, and she felt so safe in her home. She was accepted in her home. Her grandmother loved her, and so she felt, yes, I'm safe here. And maybe that was a little bit, sometimes you want something so bad, but when you finally get it or you get close to it, there's fear in that. And I believe that she was scared. She was scared a little bit because what does that mean for me? Can I be peaceful in that? Because you live your life so much in fear of something, scared about something, and then when you do get it, or it does happen, or it is getting close, you get scared because it's a different sense of reality. You don't know how you're gonna live in this new reality because you've been hidden for so long. And I think a part of it was that I wish there was a opponent character who was like masculine and just could love on her and give her that exposure. Like I'm gonna hold you out in the world, tell the whole world that I'm in love with you, and they're not gonna do nothing about it. Just be proud of that, just free and be masculine and claim her and not give a dang with nobody else. And that was, that was be his baby. I wish he had another character outside of Lil Murder, because it seems like, man, she didn't like have much of a choice because Lil Murda was actually the first person after a while giving her that love and had the grills on and, come from Chuckalisa and all of that. I feel like I wish she had other options, but he definitely was a villain. Lil Murda's actions in season one on P Valley revealed a character who, while talented, right, charismatic, uses those around him to further his own agenda. His relationship with Uncle Clifford and Mississippi are just, in my opinion, just shows, mirrors manipulation, reflecting the struggles of many in the LGBTQ plus community who navigate the complexities of hidden love, and societal expectations. Uncle Clifford journeys kind of serves as a reminder of the importance of being seen and loved for who we truly are, without fear of or shame. Just standing tall in who you are. And it was absolutely amazing to kind of see the layers of Uncle Clifford relationship with Lil Murda, because although I wish that Uncle Clifford had other options, because Lil Murda wasn't really stepping up for a little bit, when he did step up and did say that he loved Uncle Clifford, it was hard to believe him, us as the audience, and I'm sure she was having a hard time believing as well. And I think I like that Uncle Clifford gave Lil Murda a chance to explore his sexuality. There's different variations of being a gay man. You could be the dominant, or you could be the submissive. You could be, just masculinity and femininity, or a little bit of both. It's layered, and I love that Uncle Clifford gave Lil Murda a chance to explore that in their bedroom. Hey, we're gonna see how this is, and hey, we're gonna see how that is, and just take that chance. And the actor Nico, and also Jay Afons was very free and okay with that. People try to take away their manhood because of it, say you're this and say you're that, but he was a professional and remained professional throughout the entire role, and I respect that. I think that it's just that, in my opinion, Lil Murda was the villain. I loved him, and I don't think it was intentional, because he had some soul searching to do. It's like, for me, it specifically showed when Big T came. How he was trying to say he loved Uncle Clifford and all of that, but Big T loved being with Jay Afons and having that love, and both of them were such masculine men that it was so beautiful to see them in a relationship and connected. Who I would love to see review this show, just random? I would love to see YouTube star Armand Wiggins review and just kind of break down this case as well, this story, or do like reviews on it, or let us know how he might feel on it, because I feel like this is a show that he would love, in my humble opinion. He would love this show, and it's just so entertaining to watch, in my humble opinion. But yeah, I feel as though Lord Murder was the villain. He played with everybody's hearts. Both of these, beautiful human beings, these males, he would play with their hearts and just, hurt them, in my opinion. Unintentional. Probably loved Uncle Clifford, but your music was slaw. You probably benefited a lot from what Uncle Clifford brought to the table, but I don't know. I love this, show. It's coming back, and I'm so excited. I've been waiting on pins and needles, waiting for them to bring it back. There's a lot of court proceedings and all of that went into play. I knew it wasn't going to just come back that easy, because the way in which they went about it. I just hope that when they do come back, kind of like that Cardi B album, you don't go away again. Just stay here. Don't go away again. Keep coming, come back with another season and another season, because we love this show so much that it deserves consistency, in my humble opinion. But yeah, that's just my opinion. Love you guys. Bye.